On the morning of August 16, 1999, newsstands and mailboxes across the country announced a historic moment in Hollywood. An independent film produced on a microscopic budget adorned the covers of both Time magazine and Newsweek simultaneously. The Blair Witch Project scared audiences but terrified film executives. Why? Because they missed it. The marketing of movies had changed forever. The Blair Witch Project started like a typical independent film, born of good intentions, but supported by a paltry budget. However, the genius of the filmmakers extended beyond their movie. They understood viral marketing. Using the new medium of the internet, the willingness of audiences to suspend its disbeliefs, and a coordinated campaign of evolving clues, the creators of the Blair Witch Project created a whole new marketing paradigm that reached far beyond films. Two film students at the University of Central Florida, Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez, turned their love of horror movies into a concept. They noticed the genre had hit a lull. In the void, they imagined a new kind of thriller based on a minimalist technique, low-budget actors, cheap cameras, no special lighting, and absolutely no special effects. The concept fit their budget. Collectively, Myrick and Sanchez were broke. They turned to friends, family, and a few small investors to raise about $30,000. They ran a small ad in a New York theater newspaper calling for actors with improv skills. Most unusual, they didn't write a formal script. The shooting took place in the woods of western Maryland, near a town called Burkittsville. The actors were given backstories for their characters, some basic plot points, and 3 handheld cameras. They ventured into the woods and 8 days later emerged with an unpolished 20-hour faux documentary. The brilliance of Myrick and Sanchez truly emerged after the filming wrapped. Their small independent company, Haxon Films, could not afford to market the film. They desperately needed a larger distributor to pick up the project. Without some Hollywood muscle behind them, their film might never even reach an audience. Their aspirations were modest. Blair Witch was a small independent movie. At best, they might hope to play on a few dozen independent theater screens across the country for a couple of weeks. However, in order to reach even that level of success, they needed to get industry executives interested in their film. And the most impactful venue would be at a film festival. After 8 months of editing and screening, showing it to focus group after focus group, the 20-hour raw footage was culled down to 82 minutes. Myrick and Sanchez watched audiences' terrified faces when screening the final version. They knew they had produced a real horror film, but the movie still needed buzz if it was going to get noticed and shown at a major festival. Myrick and Sanchez developed an unconventional strategy. They wanted to create a myth around the Blair Witch. They wanted audiences to be confused about the authenticity of the film and the people that they were watching. Was the footage real? Did these college students really disappear? The more realistic the backstory, the more easily audiences would accept the film and its unconventional production. To sell the myth, the students needed to disappear. So they did. The 3 primary actors agreed not to make any public appearances nor take any other roles while the movie was being shopped to distributors. Second, the actors' IMDb profiles were changed to missing presumed dead. Next, a web page was created to support the legend of the Blair Witch, complete with fake newspaper clippings and information about the missing college students. Finally, Myrick and Sanchez created a fake documentary, Curse of the Blair Witch, which aired on the Sci-Fi Channel. It all worked. On January 25, 1999, the Blair Witch Project made history, becoming the first horror film to play at the Sundance Film Festival. Myrick and Sanchez plastered missing posters showing the 3 young filmmakers all around Park City, Utah. By midnight, the line for the screening was down the street. Although some of the audiences did not enjoy the shaky camera production and walked out before the end, Artesian Studios saw the vision. The studio bought the film for $1.1 million, a new record for an independent movie. Other film executives later jokingly called that price tag the scariest part of Blair Witch. Artesian not only bought the film, but also purchased the legend and all the marketing material. They agreed with Myrick and Sanchez that the key to the Blair Witch Project's success was organic curiosity and belief in the authenticity of the legend. As such, the next audience for the marketing needed to be college students. As early adopters of the internet, college students would be more likely to seek out information about the Blair Witch online. Producers constantly updated the webpage, adding to its feel of authenticity. Artesian executives also believed college students would be more willing to accept the premise and ultimately share the story with their friends. Promoters also brought back the missing posters and plastered them on college campuses around the Mid-Atlantic. Word spread in the spring of 1999 about the missing students and the found film. Artesian kept priming the pump by updating missing persons blogs with little snippets of information and continued calls for help. Could someone please find these missing students? As summer approached, college students returned home, bringing the story of the missing filmmakers and the legend of the Blair Witch with them. Artesian launched a promotional campaign built on releasing new video clips on BlairWitch.com regularly. The studio ran the missing poster in select print publications. Just before the film's release, Artesian bought an ad celebrating the 21 million page views the website had already received. On July 14, 1999, the Blair Witch Project debuted on only 27 screens across the entire country, but it brought in more than $1.5 million that weekend. Scarcity added to the buzz. News reports of people traveling for hours and camping out to see the found footage brought more attention to the movie and cries for wider release. 2 weeks later, the Blair Witch Project spread to 1,100 theaters and topped 30 million in sales. Viral marketing was born. BlairWitch.com presented the context for the film by laying out in a believable manner the history of the witch and the subsequent misfortune that followed. It was a fabrication. Only the names of the towns in the area were real. Many at the time questioned the ethics of publishing a website that looked and felt like authentic, historic information, all to promote a film. The web presented another opportunity: word-of-mouth advertising. By generating so much interest and buzz among young audiences, Myrick and Sanchez were tapping into the densest social group in society: students. The close-knit social group inside schools facilitate the easy sharing of communal experiences. These same pop culture carrier pigeons were also spending more time on the internet than any other group. Given the limited resources of the producers, short time frame to sell the project to a distributor, and the opportunity presented by the internet, Myrick and Sanchez devoted much of their effort to scrubbing every detail of their digital plan. The film's official webpage needed a complete backstory. There could be no logical holes in the legend. The site needed credible documentation and support. Additionally, as with any ongoing search, it needed constant updates. The website was simple and creepy. It offered 4 basic areas of inquiry: mythology, the filmmakers, the aftermath, and the legend. The mythology presents a straightforward chronology dating back to 1785. The timetable is similar to the well-known persecution of the suspected witches in Salem, Massachusetts. It acknowledges the doubts about the Blair Witch, while still laying out the unusual events leading up to the disappearance of the 3 young filmmakers. It also offers links within the timeline to supporting information, including newspaper articles, old pictures, and the found artifacts from the missing students. All create a feeling of authenticity. The Filmmakers Tab offers pictures and little captions about each student shortly before their disappearance. The photos appear to be a legitimate appeal to show the most recent images of the missing in an attempt to find them. The page works to humanize each one, potentially creating a connection with the target audience. The Aftermath tab looks like a police investigation gone cold. It offers what appears to be crime scene photos along with expert interviews. The authority figures add to the feeling of authenticity and increase the persuasive power of the webpage. The Legacy page focuses on the little pieces left behind by the filmmakers: diary entries, film clips, and other personal items. All these clues further build a connection with the audience, enlisting it to help in the search and offering a call to action. Assuming the diffusion of innovation theory holds in social campaigns, the early adopters will discover the internet as a means to learn more about the Blair Witch. Those digital pioneers will gather information to satisfy their need to know. Then, they'll share that information with others in their social groups. Ultimately, those who are slower to adapt will discover the same information, assuming their curiosity is piqued. Myrick and Sanchez also targeted college campuses in the Mid-Atlantic with missing posters, the same posters used at Sundance. As the weeks passed, the poster campaign grew, and the distance from Burkittsville expanded. As the number of leafleted campuses grew, Myrick and Sanchez noticed the number of page views also increased. Students were hunting for information and spending long periods of time on the page. The physical flyers driving web traffic was an early version of a digital social marketing campaign. By the time the film reached theaters in mid-July, the campaign had generated those 21 million page views. Ultimately, movies need trailers, and Artesian realized the release of a teaser film would need to fit the rest of the movie's unconventional marketing plan. Rather than running a traditional trailer as a preview before another feature film, studio executives decided to share small, edited documentary-style vignettes on college campuses. To the students, it played more like an update on the missing filmmakers they had heard about. It also continued stoking their interest in the Blair Witch and the found footage. There's no denying the long-term impact the Blair Witch Project has had on the film industry and beyond. It's regularly referred to as the first viral marketing campaign. Worldwide, the movie took in nearly $250 million. Blair Witch is easily the most successful film ever made, as measured by return on investment.